All right, hello. Once again, doing reviews. This is Mid-Card Mana. I am the loose cannon.
Sam Kiola, the wrestling connoisseur.
And today we have a very special guest, the future WWE World Heavyweight Champion. What's her wrestling name?
I don't know what your wrestling name going to be.
I don't have a wrestling name.
She just has her real name, Allison.
Yeah.
Kawhi my guy Manny Toddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
And-
mini wrestling connoisseur.
The little less wrestling connoisseur. She has
And
better
I'm the
taste.
best.
She is the best.
Yes.
She knows. Anyway, this is our
I
review.
wrestle in bed.
Exactly. Of Smackdown, some stuff from 205 Live, and some stuff from NXT from this past week.
Okay.
So, Smackdown, as I think we can all agree,
It was better than Raw.
much better than Raw.
It was better than No Mercy.
And it opened up with Kevin Owens
Yes.
basically talking smack about the McMahons. You know, first he talked about being contrite, attacking Vince. And then he went on and said, you know, Shane McMahon is a coward because he's not here right now. He's not out here to confront me
Yeah.
because he's a coward. And so he talked a whole bunch of smack about Shane. And then, lo and behold, who comes in?
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, my guy, my favorite, and comes in and talks to KO and it's like, hey, you know, I've known you for 15 years now. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? This isn't going to be good for you.
It was a good segment. I had hoped this would be something different for Sammy. We'd see them start to get back together.
Yeah, I had high hopes that this was going to be Sammy trying to talk sense into him and him being like, you know, Sammy, I've trusted your opinion for most of my career. I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That was the dream, as it were. It's not how it panned out.
It is not. Sammy versus Kevin Owens is kind of like the go-to match.
It is, because it's always going to be more or less a solid match because they have such good chemistry in ring and out of the ring together. So it's a solid filler match for any episode
show,
of
yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, whatever they could potentially be on. And
that's
that
exactly
was
what it was.
And that was booked as the main event as per Daniel Bryan for the night. So then the next match that followed was Baron Corbin versus Ty Dillinger. Now they've had a decent feud going on, especially because they're both trying to be contenders.
I wanted Ty Dillinger to win.
I did too, because he's the perfect 10.
They should have.
My
had
grandpa
Dillinger
loves
win.
that, by the way. Every time Ty Dillinger's music comes on, he waits, and then once they say 10, he always jumps up and he's like, 10! Because he's the best.
We were waiting for it in the match for his finisher, and we'd be like 10, 10, 10.
He
But
went for the tiebreaker a couple times.
He did, but it didn't happen.
It unfortunately was not landed.
That Baron Corbin promo at the end of the match kind of sucked.
More than kinda.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like that match.
I didn't feel like it was really heel.
It didn't get him over as a heel. It didn't add any more heat to this feud.
AJ's commentary was more heel
Oh, yeah.
than Corbin's promo.
Oh, yeah. But Styles is, you know, just a solid worker all the time.
But I mean, you could really see like where they gave them the paper and Styles makes it his own on commentary, and then Corbin like probably was reading from his hand as he was walking
Just,
up.
you
the
know.
mat.
Yeah.
It really kind of sucked.
It didn't really do much for either person.
Yeah.
The Dillinger versus Corbin. Now that we're
Where'd
back.
my child go?
Where did these come from?
You can't see that.
Just
It was-
some
it
magic
was-
for all of
it
you.
wasn't there before.
I
Yeah, so the Dillinger and Baron Corbin match. It was used to build up, you know, for AJ, but
I don't think it did either of them any favors. Because it didn't make people get more behind Baron Corbin.
Corbin isn't doing Corbin any favors.
That's true.
So we know this is going to be a squash. He knows it's going to be a squash match, and
So there's just a lack of effort on his
even the
part
stuff
that's being put
that
into
AJ
it.
was saying on commentary
Yeah.
was very kind of bearing for them to have written that. And you know it was written because Corbin got on the mic afterwards, and
Yeah.
yes, it did suck.
She's right.
She is. My daughter's just off screen making commentary. And Yeah. Next.
Next, so the next thing that happened after that was another week, another promo of Jinder Mahal basically slamming Nakamura in with slightly racist overtones.
And yeah, you know, I give Ginger props.
Ginger.
I keep wanting to say Ginger, which doesn't make any sense. Like you think if it was Sheamus, you could call him Ginger.
Jinder Mahal. No,
But I give him props.
we're not Eva Marie.
I give him props for doing what he's told.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are a lot worse ways that could have been handled, and I think that this has been the least incendiary way possible. Because I imagine if other superstars tried to, or were given that to work with, it would have gone over much worse.
Yes, I mean, just the fact that he is Indian, of Indian descent, helps the storyline
and I mean,
a little bit.
how he's presenting it is more of like a, you don't want to be a champion of these people because these are all the things they're gonna say about you, just like all the things they said about me.
Yeah.
So it's a weird sort of way to try and deter him from trying to be champion. I'm not entirely sure where they're going with it, but it's.
I hope Jinder Mahal keeps it.
I hope he keeps the title too for a long time. Actually,
We'll see.
he's kept it for quite a while now.
He has. I mean, he is by no means the shortest reigning.
I don't think they're going to put it on Shinsuke yet.
I would be very surprised.
If anything, they would put it on.
We
him
will
before they
also
went to
talk about
Japan.
Hell in a Cell Hell in a Cell predictions next week.
I hope Jinder wins though. If Shinsuke wins, I'll be very mad.
Yeah,
Oh.
but you like Shinsuke too, yeah. I know you like his interest.
It'll just be weird if he wins this early, because then
It would.
it would be such a quick peak, and then there would be not much left for him.
Yeah, especially since they haven't booked him very well.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing entirely. Also,
But yeah, it is an interesting gimmick that they're running with now. The whole PC sort of thing with gender.
Orton once.
And
more than once, he beat Orton more than once.
the crowd has reacted very well to it.
Yeah.
Live crowds. You know, with their different chants. Shut the... You know... And what was the other one?
We started.
That's too much.
Yeah. We started 3-man band chants and along. 3MP.
Poor Slater.
Slater
But-
Gator, man. It's gonna happen.
It's kind of sad too that the main event isn't, you know, the world title and Jinder and Shinsuke, even though they are the main event of the card, they come in like the middle of Smackdown and don't, you know, it's a
They're
small
not even gonna
segment.
be the main event of the pay-per-view, I think.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
which show Gallows and Anderson are on?
They're
They're
on
on
Raw.
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
The Good Brothers.
They're too sweet.
The Good Brothers. They should just call them the Good Brothers.
They're not gonna.
So what was the next segment?
But actually, that we didn't finish that because Nakamura actually comes out and responds
Oh, that's right.
to Mahal, because then they have
he was
the
actually
picture
on
that's frozen, right?
screen. Yeah.
And then they slowly realize that it's a live video.
Oh, and they're so frightened.
And then he comes out and takes out all three of them. Sort of a nice display of strength right before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, which is almost
2 weeks
a
out.
given that he will not win
Yeah.
because he's made to look
It's
good.
well, I mean, it's also the numbers game. They're always going to play that numbers game.
Yeah.
And until
And
he
I
gets
mean,
some sort of stable with him, maybe they bring up Kenta and have him be with Nakamura.
that would be nice.
I don't
wouldn't
think
put it
it'll
past
happen.
them,
But I mean, if they're gonna have the cultural stable with Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys, or the Singh
True.
brothers, as they're called now,
I still call them the Bollywood Boys too.
I do too, because they were great as the Bollywood Boys.
the only
Why
problem,
not? Why not have some of the Japanese superstars that were in NXT come up that way? And I mean, it's not like they've been using Kenta very well down in NXT.
Yeah.
So why not give this?
I would love to see Kenta come
Opportunity
up
to him.
and tag with Shinsuke and feud with him later on. But
Mm-hmm.
I always worry when they put more than one Japanese person in a stable that it's going to turn into the Orient Express or something to that effect.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But yeah, again, it was not the highlight of SmackDown.
Like it should have been.
We don't even get to see Jinder in many matches, really.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of his...
Even if he's in a match, he's not like the focus.
Yeah.
So it's
a lot of it's basically how the Bollywood boys will come in the clutch and save him. It's alright. That's somewhat appropriate music. Honestly, I like.
So after that segment,
after that, it was so New Day comes out and finds a seat in the audience for the upcoming match that they're gonna watch. So the match that they were sitting out there with the audience to watch were Usos versus the Hype Bros. Which was essentially a squash match in favor of the Usos. And it led to...
It was a good match, though.
It was a decent match. I felt like there was more potential for a better showing for the Hype Bros, but I think this is also, like we were talking about before, leading up to the Hype Bros turning on each other. I feel like it's more likely...
Had a small segment in that where Mojo messes the tag up.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Mojo's still going to be the one to turn heel on Ryder, though.
I don't know.
I don't think Ryder would be the one.
It's very wishy-washy right now. At first, we had a Ryder acting heel because Mojo screwed up. And then the next week, we had Mojo upset, and it looked like they were both going to turn heel. Mm-hmm. And then this week again, Mojo's the cause of them losing, and Ryder was a little bit upset back. Well, they were both upset, arguing. And I don't think that aired on SmackDown. It was like an exclusive.
Oh, the video I sent you? Yeah. I think that was post SmackDown, like, exclusive internet content.
It really should have been on SmackDown.
Where it started off with Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable.
Yeah.
And what was an interesting
show
of unity between the two of them.
Yeah.
Honestly. Also, Shelton Benjamin, great wrestler. A lot of people said him as one of the more underrated wrestlers that had a tenure in WWE.
Definitely.
So it's interesting to see him in this role now, where he's sort of tag team partner / mentor to Chad Gable, which I think Chad Gable definitely needs that sort of mentorship angle. Get it? I didn't even mean to do that.
I don't know where it will go, but they need to build some team up for when the New Day eventually splits.
Yeah.
Because it is on the horizon.
10 years from now when they finally split up.
I don't think it'll be that long.
I think it'll be a while.
I know they're want them to have like 5 more titles.
I love the New Day.
Because New Day rocks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they want them to have like 5 or 6 more title reigns, but they're working on it like quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
and that match led up to a confrontation between the Usos and the New Day, where the New Day revealed that at Hell in a Cell, the tag team titles would be defended in a Hell in a Cell. So that's going to be one of the Hell in a Cell matches at Hell in a Cell, which is on October 8th. Which should be good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that pay-per-view. Oh no, are you okay?
It's on her birthday.
Oh, it's her birthday.
Yeah, we should have a Hell in a Cell match on your birthday with all the other kids that are coming.
Did you build it?
No.
A bunch of 6-year-olds in a Hell in a Cell match.
Allison would win.
She would. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next thing that happens is the Pride of Bulgaria celebration with Rusev and Aiden English.
Yes, getting the keys to his city.
Yeah.
It was a nice little thing with Aiden English singing the national anthem
and
all that.
Singing a song he improvised to Randy Orton's theme song.
Mm-hmm. I like
Good heel work.
I like that they're including him in it. I'm really happy with what they're doing with Aiden English right now.
He's
finally getting a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
And
not at the expense of Sami Zayn too. So I'm
just the fact that he's in this angle with Rusev against Orton. He's faced Orton a couple times now, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's nice that they're using English. Maybe it'll transition to a feud with him and Orton. I don't know.
We'll see.
But at least he's being used.
turns the bad guy.
Hope Orton turns a bad guy. I'm not a huge fan of Randy Orton.
But he's better as a heel than he is as
definitely.
attempting to be a face. So.
Yeah, he's awful as a face.
That,
Yes, baby.
You know, he should be in a 6-man tag.
Randy Orton should be in a 6-man tag.
Huh.
I think he should be in a tag team. That's how I would use him.
He did well in the Wyatt family. Honestly, I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the if you can't beat them, join them. Because
Yeah.
I was waiting for that actually to finally happen to someone sincerely. And when it happened to Daniel Bryan, it seemed a little disingenuous. And then it ended up, of course, being disingenuous.
It worked with Orton.
But it worked with Orton.
And they did it for longer than I expected.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they held the titles.
Yeah.
Which was pretty incredible.
Also, Luke Harper got to turn face. So
Oh, yeah.
that,
That was great.
we
Oh,
haven't
Harper.
seen him in a long time now.
We saw him on Oahu. It was great. But yes,
So, yeah,
the
so
Pride
Orton-
of Bulgaria celebration was interrupted by Randy Orton, who came in and RKO'd.
Everybody.
Everybody.
But did not RKO the mayor of Rusev's hometown in Bulgaria. Because Rusev, being
Amazingly.
the pride of Bulgaria as he is, got him to safety and then took the RKO.
Because he's a good man.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's a hero of the Bulgarian people.
Yeah.
It was. I liked the segment. It was kind of.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was kind
actually
of.
a good
It was kind of
segment.
showy, but it was. I think it worked really well for the characters involved.
It would have been nice if it would be a segment where they actually get one over on Orton. I mean, Rusev did last week, but it was really cheap.
Oh yeah.
A cheap
So-
shot.
You know, I doubt Rusev is going to win this feud.
No.
So I would love to see
which
them
would be a shame because what's the point of it if not?
to get Rusev over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Orton doesn't need it.
Oh my God, it's a sandwich floating
I would
in the
love
air.
it. But then the next thing that happened was Charlotte versus Carmella.
First time we've seen Carmella in a ring in a while.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, Charlotte, she's going to go over.
It was kind of cool. I thought that Carmella had decent control for most of the match. It wasn't a squash like how so many people would have probably predicted if you saw those two names going against each other. Charlotte was actually kind of put on the ropes, so to speak, by Carmella a couple times because Carmella decided, I guess, in character that this is her opportunity. You know, Charlotte's the number one contender. She's the one that has the match coming up at Hell in a Cell. Why not go after Charlotte? Show that I'm Miss Money in the Bank. I'm just as good as you. Don't you forget it.
I honestly would almost like to see Carmella win.
I didn't. I mean, we
course, by
both
cheating.
knew that wouldn't happen specifically.
But, you know, somehow, because, I mean, if
Carmella.
she doesn't, exactly,
She's
who
the
is Carmella?
Carmella is the princess of Staten Island. She is FABULOUS. Yes, that's right. I did it. I don't even care. I love Carmella. I've been a big fan of her since she was in NXT. I thought she's really good on the mic.
built her up.
And
now
she's got a great finisher. The Kota Sans submission is pretty unique. I mean, who else on the main roster has something similar to that?
But they need to build her up to make her even any bit of a threat as Money in the Bank champion, or Money in the Bank to the champion. A win over Charlotte would definitely put her, like,
On the map,
okay,
so to speak. People would take her a lot more seriously as a contender.
even if she cheated to win by throwing her gimp Enzo into Charlotte or something.
Ellsworth?
Ellsworth, not Enzo. Ellsworth. Same thing, same character.
Not really.
No,
Enzo is a little bit better on the mic. He's a lot better on the mic.
a little bit,
Let's be real.
a little bit.
But James Ellsworth actually, can do a super kick, so I guess that's you take him.
He can't teach that.
He can't.
I think Ellsworth should go to 205 Live and
And
same
think-
gimmick with Carmella except with Enzo.
I think he's actually like a little too heavy,
Really?
which is weird, right? Because he looks like he's a twig, but
We might
I
have
could
to
be
look that
wrong.
one up.
I'll look it up a little bit later, but so that
So-
was what happened there. And then in the interim before the main event, there was, Dolph Ziggler came out again and did more of his...
He got me.
No gimmick.
He got me.
You thought it was The Undertaker?
I wasn't, paying super close attention, and I heard the gongs, the bells toll, and I was like, what? And Allison was all excited. And she was like, is the Undertaker back? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, what are they doing here? And then you're waiting. And
it was Dolph Ziggler.
And it was like, no, it looks like somebody's going to come out.
As soon as he started walking, I was like, oh, that's Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, too small to be the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Two, walking too fast.
Yeah. And I will also say, and I don't know if this is genius or what, but Corey Graves giving it away before Ziggler got in the ring. I was like, is it good heel work to give it away as a commentator beforehand? Or would it have been better for them to have been silent and then
all of a sudden be like, wait, it's Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
Sort of like how the King would.
Yeah.
What? I can't even do it.
I don't know which would have been better, really. Because he totally gave it away before anything. If you hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah. Then it was a spoiler.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of feel like it's almost ingenious heel work on Graves' part.
Corey Graves is really good at being a commentator.
Yeah.
That's, of course, why he's commentating for every show all the time now.
Yeah. He's the guy now.
He is the guy. He's on both Raw and SmackDown.
Take that, Michael Cole.
Woof. Michael Cole sure is, I bet. But anyway.
Vintage
Corey Graves.
So the whole...
he comes out with the Undertaker gimmick.
Talks about the same shtick.
Yeah, talks about how, you guys would rather see an old guy that can't hold himself up in the ring anymore than someone like Dolph Ziggler.
I was really surprised they let him say all that stuff.
I was too. But I mean,
it had been a great moment for the Undertaker to have come back actually.
And be like, what'd you say?
They were going to do that, yeah.
But then of course, who comes out? Glorious. He won't give in. He won't give in till he's victorious. And he will defend.
We've been waiting for this because...
Yeah, I mean, we've been figuring it's going to happen, and I was at the point where if it didn't happen this week, then I wasn't going to be sure if it was ever going to happen.
Really?
Well, because it's 2 weeks out from the next pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're gonna tease something like this, of course they're gonna have a match at the pay-per-view. And if they didn't do it this week, the next week would be too much of a rush to try and
It would, but I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they've done that before.
They have, but
I'm surprised
hasn't
they didn't
been quite as effective.
Ziggler do the glorious entrance.
I was waiting for it.
And then, Bobby
and then have Bobby Roode just come in and be like, hey.
Yeah.
There's only one man that is truly glorious. And it was funny because Bobby Roode, when he came out,
he's gonna ride Ziggler
he actually, the promo he cut against Ziggler or around Ziggler was a face promo because he actually was like, you are really talented in the ring.
He's gonna be face.
Which is interesting.
It's super surprising, especially with his gimmick.
But he made it work because he made it come off as genuine. And someone that, he just got here on Smackdown, so he respects Dolph Ziggler, and he thinks that he has been doing good work, and he understands.
He made it work as much as it could.
Yeah.
It's still a very, like I say, the character itself is so
it's so built to be a heel.
With the crazy robe and, the big entrance.
Channeling Ric Flair and Rick Rude.
Yeah, and he comes out, and he's still that over-the-top kind of... really egotistical character, but it's face though. So I don't know how it's going to work, how long it's going to work.
I also was I really liked, I was a big fan of the anticlimactic Glorious when he was like, it's going to be glorious.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh God. But it worked so well with what he was, with the point that was trying to come across from both sides.
Well, the fans did it for him.
Yeah.
He works it all up, and the fans yell, "Glorious!" I think the only reason he's a face is because
he was so
so over.
Yeah, It was so over when he came after Brooklyn. The night he debuted on SmackDown. As soon as that music hit, the crowd popped huge.
But it's interesting why they would actually listen to the crowd. Like, oh, they're really into this guy.
They're like John Cena.
Let's
They
make
listen
him
to the crowd.
face because he's so over. When Rude is one of those characters who, even if he's heel, he would be able to get over with the crowd.
Anyway, yeah, like how you did in NXT.
You know, just because his theme song is interactive with the fans.
It's glorious, in fact.
Yeah. That they decided to make Bobby Roode face instead of, you know, other things like Roman Reigns, who will never turn heel.
If they were going to feud him with Dolph Ziggler's obviously been playing the heel for a while now, so it would only make sense that unless they were going to do some sort of overhaul on Ziggler where he comes back as a face and is like, you know, I really value my time in WWE, blah, 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 blah. And I'm really looking to make an impact at this point in my career and then have Bobby Roode come in and be like, but you'll never be glorious.
Right.
But
they could have done that. Ziggler's been on a losing streak for a while since he's turned heel. And now that he's just getting this new gimmick, it's surprising that they're going to job him out to Rudy. Have him lose again. I feel like Ziggler's not going to win any for a long time.
I've heard Ziggler's on his way out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
And that this is the last rub he's going to give.
Wow. And
so
like,
to speak.
What, they're just not going to renew his contract? Or?
He's going to choose to not renew. He's going to choose to not re-sign. I don't know if this is true.
Ladies and gentlemen, your new Global Force Impact TNA champion. I would not be against it.
What would his name even be?
It would be Dolph Impact. He would be Johnny Impact's brother.
No, what was his name? What was his name in Spirit Squad?
Nikki.
Okay.
Right? It was Nikki. Wasn't it?
I
think he was Nikki. What was his... Yeah, it was Nick Namath before he signed WWE.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So we'll just go back
Spirit
to
Squad reunion, maybe.
Yeah. What's Kenny doing? Who knows? Nothing.
I don't know, but that last contract they gave him, he was like he was like a CEO or something of some fitness place. And WWE gave him that open-ended contract type deal where they're paying him X amount for his appearances or whatever. He was like under regular contract. And because he was missing so much being on the road in that tag, they fired him.
Oof.
And you saw how that turned out for him. I think
tag champs, right?
No. I think they did about 5 shows.
Yeah, it was brutal. Yes. Anyway, so the next, and it was finally that time for the main event. So it was Kevin Owens,
not Jinder Mahal,
versus Sami Zayn.
But yeah, this is the big characters. I mean, Kevin Owens is going to be feuding with Shane McMahon. That's what they're going to push.
And it's
going to be Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're going to do.
And that's actually the main event of Hell in a Cell. Is KO versus Shane.
Double main event.
Yeah, but that's going on last probably.
Probably.
So it's going to be the main event. There's only one. So
she's back.
She's back.
So yeah, what do you think about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? No. What do you think about Kevin Owens?
That's what she thinks about Kevin Owens.
Okay, so
Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
The match was a typical Owens versus Zayn match.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It was a good match, and I mean, they always, I think, fall back on KO and Sami Zayn to deliver a match whenever they might be strapped for possible matchups or content. And it's always a fairly solid segment whenever they work because they're so used to each other.
Yeah. And
they work so well together that it's kind of in the bag. It's not something that you ever really need to worry about or something that you need to have a lot of preparation for because...
No. They're just going to go out there.
They can go out there and do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And it'll always be entertaining. Now, this time, it was more of a setup, of course.
Of course, but it was still a good match.
Yeah.
There was a couple of really good spots.
And prior to that match, Daniel Bryan had actually told Sami Zayn, you know, hey, Shane's coming, he's on his way, and Sami Zayn specifically was like,
word,
you know,
he's not going to interfere.
Please don't let him interfere in this match. He gets him at Hell in a Cell. I get him tonight.
And I'd hoped that segment would have moved forward and pushed the role of like Sami Zayn and Shane McMahon having a little bit of heat together, of Shane actually interfering and then
in the match,
and then Sami being a little upset.
It
did not happen that way.
I'm upset at how time after time, match after match, and it doesn't happen every match, but there's been several matches between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, where the ref will call the match. So Sami Zayn doesn't get pinned, he doesn't tap out, he doesn't pass out or anything. Right. The ref is just like, Sami Zayn cannot continue this match. Dear God. And I'm always really disappointed with that because of the fact that it's never really an official loss.
Right.
I mean, it is because the match is called, and obviously Kevin Owens is the one that wins because the referees deem Sami Zayn unable to continue the match. Right. But I mean, it just leaves it so open-ended because it's not Sami Zayn giving up or being defeated kind of as much as it is the referees saying, no more.
You know, I think that's kind of the point, is that they have this, I kind of liken it to Dreamer and Raven in ECW. And they're brothers, but they have this non-ending, ever-going feud.
Yeah, fight forever.
And when they end a match like that, it's not resolved.
Yeah.
And
which is good, but at the same time, because they try and pin it as this is a win for Kevin Owens. Right. That's what bothers me, because it's not as clear-cut of a win.
Which they did in ECW. Raven almost always won. Until Tommy finally...
Man, I love Tommy Dreamer.
Finally got the win. I think that was before Raven actually come back and helped Tommy win the tag titles from the Dudleys.
Well, I mean,
which stole his glory, you know. I mean, they could always do that with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens too.
Well, they did have the Sami Zayn winning that feud at Battlegrounds last year, where they fought, and this is their third fight, and it was like, after this, we really see who's the better man, and Sami Zayn ended up winning that match. It was a great match.
They keep coming back to it. And I think there was a house show in Canada, I believe, where they had Owens kind of show some face attitude, and him and Sami took out Jinder and the Bollywood Boys.
Yeah, there's a thing where actually Kevin Owens saved Sami from an attack.
So it's like I don't know if they were, trying to, see where that would go and how the fans would respond to that.
I mean, because no matter if you have them working together or working against each other, you know that these are two people that can carry a feud, carry a match, carry a promo.
I mean, it'll all kind of just depend on where Hell in a Cell goes.
Yeah.
I would like to see Kevin turn face out of this whole ordeal.
I don't think it's gonna happen because they're pushing Shane McMahon to be an unshakable face.
Yeah.
And I love Shane. Make no mistake, of course, in Shane we trust. But
I mean, if even having Shane win and
it would
losing
be nice.
Control because it's his family and all this stuff, and Sami coming out and making the save, even after the match.
Book it.
They'll never book it, but
book it, Jimmy Jacobs. Please.
What are you doing?
Anyway, that match actually ended with the referee calling it, but KO continued his assault on Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And Shane McMahon came out for the save. And when Shane McMahon came out, KO threw Sami Zayn into him. They sort of both were disoriented, and KO basically booked it out through the audience.
Yeah. He did the whole chair on, and I was really kind of let down with that. He's like, powerbombed Sami on the apron, and then put the chair over Sami's head. Was gonna take in his career, and I was like, "Oh, this is not the way I want it to go," because I want to see Owens turn face.
It was the same thing that he did in NXT, and that's how they introduced Samoa Joe, because they had their takeover at NXT Takeover Rival, where he just laid into Sami, and after a while, the refs called it, and he just kept hitting him with steel chairs, everything, set him up, and then all of a sudden, you hear Samojo's music hit, and then Samojo comes in for the save and saves Sammy.
Yeah. We never really got that Joe Owens
feud. It's unfortunate.
It is. Maybe one day.
One day. I mean, they both still probably have a long careers in the WWE.
I have high hopes for Hell in a Cell.
I do too. Honestly,
hopefully it'll be better.
I've always really liked Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view because I just like the concept of the steel cage match, and I think it's a good way for certain wrestlers that may not be taken seriously on a day-to-day basis. If you go inside a Hell in a Cell, that's almost instant credibility, regardless of how well you do in your match.
Yeah.
And I think all the competitors.
Which the New Day will be in the cell. I think it's granted to say it'll be Big E.
I think Biggie and Kofi will be the two officials, but I mean Freebird rule technically, they try to exercise Freebird rule.
That's true. I mean, there won't be any DQs.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could see Xavier in the cell too.
And I don't know what his ETA is as far as injury goes because he's injured.
Yeah.
Still maybe question mark? I'm not sure.
And Kofi may still be hurt. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see if they drop the titles. I would be surprised if they dropped the title so soon after getting it in Vegas. But, I mean, we've seen shorter title runs, haven't we?
Definitely.
So that was SmackDown. For 205 Live, it was a lot shorter. There were only 3 matches.
I didn't catch 205 Live, but I heard a little bit about it.
Started with Enzo Amore basically breaking down the Cruiserweight some more. Sort of similar to what he did at the end of Monday Night Raw. And as we talked about in the Raw review, the Cruiserweights, he comes out, he basically calls each of them out, makes fun of all of them until Neville comes out, destroys him. After the show, all the Cruiserweights take shots at him. And I watched that. It's not
including the
all
largest
of their
Cruiserweight, Braun Strowman.
Future Cruiserweight champion.
Book it.
Actually, no. Book him as the tag team champions. That's what I really want to see.
That may be happening too.
I believe it. So
a few things. I didn't watch 205 Live, but some of my friends texted me about it earlier. And a few things. What I was told is that after Enzo's big heel promo in the ring, he gets out, he's walking to the back, and he's slapping kids' heads.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is one of the
because he's still playing it as a face because he gave this. So his speech basically was he was like, I'm so proud of being the Cruiserweight champion. I flew my mother out. She was watching in the front row, and she had to watch her son get beat up, and she was crying. She was crying her beautiful blue eyes out. Like she literally says, she was crying her beautiful blue eyes out. And it was like, well, her eyes were closed, but her ears were wide open, and she could hear the crowd chanting, "One more time, one more time." And it was basically like a very pity me promo. Which, because he brought his mother into it, I'm confused as to, are they trying to actually gain him sympathy? Or is it still sort of heelish because he won under shady circumstances?
Because he's annoying. And I hate to bring Raven back up, but that was Raven. He was always the pity party. Like,
what about me?
This was my childhood.
What about Raven?
He would tell you all these things that you would have empathy for, but then he would say that at the end and kind of bring it back around where it was heel. But I don't know. I don't think he should be clapping hands when he leaves the ring. I think he should go full heel already.
Yeah.
And be done with it.
We'll see what happens.
So, I don't know, what were all the matches?
So the first match up was the premier athlete Tony Nese.
Okay, I like Nese.
Versus Tozawa.
Oh, okay.
Who I'm a big fan of. I love the power of Tozawa. Big fan of the power of Tozawa. So it was Drew Gulak was on the commentary team. And of course, Gulak has been very much against doing the
I'm gonna do my favorite
Um,
move. Is that okay?
high flying moves, no fly zone, all that.
Right.
Which you saw a little bit in the Raw Fallout when he tried to stop Mustafa Ali from
Yes,
doing
which was great.
the
Kept with his
054.
gimmick. Mhm.
And then ended up being like, all right, just this once, which I thought
With
was
his big pop,
which
so that
yeah, which I
fans
thought
are
was really good.
actually
It was
kind of getting
a
into
good
the
it was a
205.
good show of solidarity amongst the cruiserweights, uniting against this common enemy.
It was also a nice little thing, for at least the higher ups to judge fan reaction. Like they pay enough attention to know that this guy is the no-fly zone, and when he says "go ahead and do it," there was the pop. The fans were like, "Yeah, he's on our side." So I mean, that was actually a nice touch. I didn't know if it would actually get a response.
I've never been that big on Drew Gulak, but I like the no fly zone thing because I think it's the gimmick that's been working for him
Yeah.
the best out of all of the weird stuff.
And it makes me
that they
think
had him do.
of Foley's anti-hardcore run. Yeah.
It's a nice touch. Anyway, Tozawa ended up winning because, of course, Tozawa would. He's the face.
Titus Worldwide.
Worldwide, and you can't overcome the power of Tozawa. Anyway, the next match after that was TJP versus Lince Dorado. Two people that we don't really see much, especially on the Raw Cruiserweight
Yeah, not anymore.
area, which is
at least
ridiculous
TJP.
because TJP was the inaugural Cruiserweight champion. And now a year out, where is he most of the time?
They turned him heel for like a hot minute and then tried to turn him back face. And he had absolutely no heat or anything doing that. I mean, they buried him in that segment.
He was one of the few cruiserweights that didn't actually get a moment to himself to beat up Enzo. Him and Tozawa were two of them that just basically were on the sides,
so
just like watching, supervising.
So it's good to at least see him getting some airtime.
Yeah. And so it was, a typical TJP match where he comes out and dabs to the kids. And it's
an interesting gimmick.
Weird to me because he's a face facing another face, but he's being heelish to this face. So it's sort of like I don't quite know what they're trying to do with TJP because I mean he can be a good
have to watch it.
heel. But
I mean that's been the problem.
But because he's so popular with the kids, they're trying to keep him at least a little bit face for the keiki.
And we're gonna do a show on that alone one day.
On
face and heel stuff.
Right. So like I said, new content coming up every time we talk to each other. There's just more content coming out.
So I'm assuming he won the match.
Yes.
And that was the end of it, probably.
Yep. What actually happened? Actually, as I'm reading it, so
right or the bad guys and right.
He was attacked.
Who was?
TJP.
Interesting. I'm assuming not by
Rich Swann.
Oh, what?
Yeah. It's been weird. Who knows what's going on there?
That's very odd.
So then the final match was Arya Daivari versus the former king of the cruiserweights. And so Daivari basically tried to suck up to Enzo Amore. Prior to
that's how it came about. Because I find it interesting, like, after he's insulted everybody, how would they go about having Enzo make any friends or allies?
Yeah.
I would like to see Enzo grovel for a while to some of the others to try to get a group together.
And then have it sort of only slowly start to work.
Yeah. Like really trying to get his way into the division. I don't understand why 205 Live doesn't have their own commissioner, their own GM, or whatever. It can still be under Stephanie.
You know who would be great actually is a cruiserweight that they had let go. But has experience working with another general manager on a WWE brand.
I can't think of his name.
Oh my god, how can you not?
I don't know. What's his name?
Are we thinking of the same person?
I don't know.
Tajiri.
Oh no, we're not thinking of the same person.
Okay,
I'm thinking it was Xavier Woods' tag partner. His old tag partner.
Brodus Clay?
No.
Oh no, they didn't. He didn't really tag with Brodus Clay. He sort of stole.
I think he only tagged with this guy that we know of one night.
Now I'm curious as to who you mean.
Oh, I can't believe you're not following me on this.
Who's not with the company anymore?
Who has GM experience? He's not with the company anymore.
I don't know, but we're taking up so much time.
I know.
And you just blank face.
This should be a brainbuster right there.
I think Tajiri would be good. I think he'd be a good.
I really can't think of his name though.
Face.
Maybe if you turn the
GM.
page, you will know what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, this is still not working.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with that hint?
No, because all I can think of is Hangman Page. I've been inundating myself with New Japan stuff.
Well, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, they can send the answer to midcardmana at gmail.com. And we'll give you a shout out.
Yep.
Xavier Woods' tag partner for one night only.
One night only.
That we know of. It's probably more. Angie doesn't know, even if she turned the page.
Oh, Brad Maddox.
Now you ruined it for everybody.
But they'll never sign him again. Mad Braddocks is what he's going by now in the Indies. Did you know?
So that was going to be our first brainbuster.
Oh, well, I've ruined it.
Shout out to Angie because she got it.
I ruin things. This is what I do.
That's your gimmick.
Like how I botched talking about TJP versus Lindsay Dorado. It's been weird.
So that was 205.
Well, we didn't talk about who won the match. So obviously it was Neville.
Yeah,
but
it's obvious.
It seems like Neville's starting to appear more as a baby face.
Yeah.
To try and push Enzo as the heel.
Yeah.
And especially after that promo that he cut, where he was basically like, I wanted to leave you out to rot in the cold, and these gentlemen back here, who you called nobodies, were the ones that insisted that you had that you get an opportunity, and this is how you repay them. So then he was the face. He's like, so on behalf of the entire cruiserweight division, Enzo, I am here to end you. He drops the mic. It was probably my favorite promo I've ever seen Neville cut in my life.
He's growing on me. I didn't like him as a face before, but after this heel run,
I've always liked him as a heel. When he played heel to Sammy's face in NXT, I thought it was great because he was so naturally snobby and condescending. That it worked really well because then he was always like, Sammy, you're a great competitor, but you just can't come in on the big matches. You just can't win one of the big ones, Sammy. And so it was what he would do all the time.
He's growing on me.
Yeah.
So Neville face is growing on me.
Yeah, and I think this is a good...
And he's expanded his repertoire a lot more than just being a high flyer with the Rings of Saturn, too.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of his use of the Rings of Saturn, honestly.
Yes.
I didn't think I would be. And I think the first time we had seen him do it was on a Raw.
Probably, yeah.
Or he just randomly pulled out the Rings of Saturn instead of doing the red arrow that we usually see.
His big nod toward Perry Saturn.
And he uses it really well. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the review
That is
of
205.
205 and SmackDown. Maybe we might do a quick NXT one as a separate video. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.